8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Who is the nerd mafia?
Flyers up all around his apartment complex. A social media group known as the Nerd Mafia pushed for these electronic billboards in Central Florida. Nerd Mafia.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Calling all units A211 at 675 Main. Backup needed.
Car 36 responding.
Suspect wanted for question.
Pate, Sleuthy, how are you guys?
Good. Delphi.
This is the part where are we gonna wait for Sleuthy's audio check? Do we have audio from Sleuthy? We just never know. See, Pate, this is what we talked about. This is why you're up here tonight.
Oh man, come on, Sleuthy. Maybe she left and she's gonna come back in.
It's exciting. It's suspenseful. So Quentin Simon, I want to start talking about him. October 5th went missing. We've seen a lot of chaos, a lot of drama. Last time I checked, there was 4 arrests. 3 of the arrests were due to people blocking the driveway, blocking egress, I guess, while they were protesting. I guess another woman or man, I don't know which one, knocked on the window. Am I missing? I think yesterday I was there on the ground, and we'll show some of that footage. Yesterday, while on the ground, I think police showed up. There was a dispute over signs. Sleuthy, do we have audio back from you? And Pate, what do you think of this all?
I think that, well, you know how I feel about, I don't think that this is something that should be rushed. I think that, if anything, based off of what I saw last night, it feels like they're getting set up to where it can be a sympathy thing because of the behavior. I don't agree with the behavior, but I think that it changes the optics that maybe necessarily wouldn't if there wasn't people screaming outside.
I agree with that. There's a lot we wouldn't be seeing without those protesters, even if I don't really appreciate everything that's happening out there, obviously. There's just so much we wouldn't be seeing.
So this is the home yesterday. I noticed that the pool, and rightfully so, we spoke about that. I think that over here in Georgia, Florida, when the pools are emptied, if they don't quickly fill them back in or put the liner back in. But is that a solar cover? I couldn't tell, but nonetheless, the pool is fixed. And that was the home yesterday. You could see that one car parked over there in front. And this was taken when the signs were still up. This was about 45 minutes to an hour before the sign dispute occurred. And you see that car stop talking to the protesters there. But this is the house, and we're going to get into another TikTok video. Sort of gives you a summary of yesterday. I'll turn the music. I can't play TikTok music for copyright reasons. So you'll hear other music as this goes through. You know, it's clear to me, Pate Sluthi, looking at the scene yesterday from the air, it looks like unequivocally police believe that Quentin is located here in the landfill. You also see footage of dumpsters. There's multiple dumpsters. This was a 4 to 5 minute drive away from their home. And along this main sort of road, there's all these dumpsters. We probably counted about 10 to 11. The majority of them have cameras directly around them, surrounding them, or nearby. So it's clear to me from looking at the scene at the landfill that police unequivocally, it looks like, believe that he's here. What are your thoughts? We're going to see some footage from yesterday, some better footage. So.
I had my doubts earlier on in the case, but at this point, I agree. I think that they are clearly sure that he's there. And I think Sleuthie mentioned something about, not rushing this. And I don't think that it's possible. I mean, they have so much to go through, right? But yeah, I mean, it reminds me of a case in the past where, the person was where they were looking the whole time with the laundries. So.
Yeah, it's something I keep saying here is that even though because the answers aren't coming soon enough, the arrests, the charges, justice isn't coming soon enough. You want to look elsewhere. You want to point the finger and say cops are wrong here. But you point out a good point that I've pointed out in the past, that we all thought the same, right? I travel around the United States, almost up to Canada, back to Carolinas. Ultimately, the police were right there. He was in the reserve. So. You'll see as we get closer here to the scene. This is an active scene yesterday with law enforcement still working it. There's buckets there. They have a lab sort of set up. It's clear that they believe that Quentin's here, and that means that they probably have pretty strong evidence, but not strong enough to give a tampering with evidence charge, which is interesting.
That is interesting, like no charges at all. And I think what they're, I mean, it's all a guessing game, but it seems like they want to have 100% clarity and evidence to, put somebody away for this for a while. I have to detach my soul, I swear, from my brain when I watch these. It's just sickening.
So I'm hearing that, like, no one can see me or Pate's pictures. Just nerdy. So I'm turning my camera on so people know that it's me. But I think that he's in that landfill. I think that they're gonna find him. I just wonder, nerdy, did they have like overnight security there? Do you know?
So the one thing I noticed, so I don't know, I'm not there every day, but the one thing I noticed on the weekend, remember I was there this past weekend. The footage we're seeing right now is from yesterday afternoon. Law enforcement still there, but the footage I had from last weekend, you'll notice a patrol car parked out there, and that's similar to the same scene that we've seen for Harmony Montgomery when they were, overnight. The house had to be de-thawed. I want to say that snow there. And police kept a presence there to guard the scene. So I would imagine that they're doing the same. And from the air, that's what I saw this past weekend.
I haven't gotten to see this yet.
Yeah, no, this is the first time everyone's seeing. Obviously there's some short clips on TikTok, but this is wide. This is 1080 because the restream broadcast only allows such. I will get the 4K video up after this as well, but yeah, this is the first time that I think most people are seeing that. We saw some footage on the ground, and um, I described it yesterday on Twitter, and I'm careful of what is broadcast, A, but B, I try not to post stuff in real time. Most people that follow me on Twitter know that. So I tried to describe this yesterday, and what I can see are 4 blue tents, 2 like white tents, and then this large sort of lab you'll see as I get closer. This large sort of silver lab where the buckets are lined up in front of, and it looks like that's where they're processing things, but we'll get there as well.
I wonder what that water is. Like, I wonder if they've searched the water, or if so it would lead, if they have not searched any of that water and stuff, it would lead me to believe that they're even more certain. I don't think it's a question for me anymore whether or not he might be in that particular spot. Is it still for you?
You mean this water here?
Yeah, all of that water.
Well, remember, so this is something I got stuck on too. They're not saying, because there's a service entrance here, right? There's a stop here at this landfill, meaning the public drives in. So aside from the large dump trucks that you see, there's people, civilians driving in with pickup trucks that stop at a registration desk and say, here's $8, here's what I'm dumping, just like in your town, or most people have similar. That body of water is a landfill. So she never came close to this landfill. What law enforcement has said, or what they're alluding to, is that they have footage of her dumping something in a dumpster, and then that came to this landfill by normal process. And that's something that I had to sort of differentiate too. So she wouldn't. Yeah, the water is not even up for play as far as I'm concerned here.
What is that water all about, though, that at the landfill? Is that they don't dump anything into that, do they?
I don't know, and that's something that I've both queried on Facebook, Twitter, and I can drop a guest link, and the mods can too. I've asked. I don't know the landfill environment, the landscape well enough to know what all these things are. Underneath the drone, behind me, is the main processing. So they have these large, trucks constantly moving. They put them into these machines, and it looks like they're, I hate to describe what you're seeing, but they're being crushed. I mean, it's these huge machines that are crushing, and maybe even using temperature or heat-based stuff to deal with this stuff. But aside from that, Pate, I don't know what the water is, and maybe people in the comments or someone that's acclimated with this business could tell us, but I don't know.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that I can't see comments and do this at the same time for some reason. So just so everybody knows, if I can't watch, I'm not watching that.
It's really hard. I did my own live, and you can forget it. I probably read like 10 comments, but I wonder if that's for some type of I know it can't be paint because maybe it could, but here they want you to put catnip in the paint to dry it up or whatever, but maybe that water is specifically for things that can't be crushed. I don't know. I would be super curious if anybody knows.
So somebody respond. I'm going to post it here, Jackie. Is to keep the dust down. And I don't know enough to validate that. I was also going to say it looks like a natural barrier because there is marshland right there. Oftentimes that's protected by state or local agencies. Perhaps just a natural barrier in between that, because that's where it sort of ends. But as you see there, somebody commented to keep the dust down. That's interesting. There's all these things that you learn, and here is where we get closer. And you can see the scene has changed from last week. There's 2 piles now. It looks like one larger one and the one behind it.
It sure does look like an active scene, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'm really careful, or try to be. You can see I slowed this down, and we'll still got a little ways to go, but there's still law enforcement working it, and I myself don't want to see anything. I don't think I would, seeing that this task is so long. But yeah, I'm trying to be careful with what's shown and even what I see.
Has anybody said anything to you, Nerdy, about flying the drone?
No.
I
And
think
I'm up at a height where even though this looks where you can see stuff, I'm up at a height where it wouldn't even be detected or heard right now,
oh,
especially with the heavy equipment that they're dealt with right there. So I don't even think they'd know.
I think that, and I've been seeing people say like, why haven't they found him yet? Um, maybe he's not there, things like that. And I don't want to get, but they could be making progress, you know. They could be um just not finished. I hate to hear that about the crushing and stuff. It makes me so angry.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, and it's sort of conflicting too. I mean, I think that as we discuss and look at the family behavior. I mean, yesterday they were camped out on their own lawn, like co- uh, being combative with protesters, and it just their behavior from the start doesn't display people who are worried about evidence being found here, and that's sort of that's what keeps sort of leading me somewhere else. But I don't know. I mean, that could just be their shitty behavior.
And that's what I keep, I was going back and forth with that. And I just look at their behavior as generally dysfunctional, and I'm being nice, honestly. And I don't know. I don't know if it actually connects, But the one thing I really related to is a comment on Twitter earlier today. I don't remember who it was, but they said, the one thing you don't see when you're watching them out front or anytime really, especially with Lilani, is you don't see any sadness. It's really, it really throws me, it takes me so off guard. It's just mind boggling. No sadness, what. So
Did you watch that live stream yesterday
I
or
did
last?
not. I did
Okay.
not.
Okay. Well, um, you know, a lot of laughing, a lot of joking about Danny not being there, an attitude. I do get the anger for the protesters. I totally understand, but I feel like I would be so like overcome with grief that that would be my last thing. And the whole idea was that we go outside, they lose their power. We show them that they're not bothering us. Um, every time they say something, we yell justice for Quentin. Um, and it's almost like antagonizing, instigating. Um, and I just don't see why that's a thing. And I did join the live stream, and Billy Joe was crying. At one point, she like reached her hand up into the air and was like praying to God to have him found. Um, and it was just like an hour long crying. We feel so terrible. Let us send you food. Thousands of dollars, I would say. I mean, I at least saw $1,000 go through on super chats. And at one point, oh, hold on. I think I just swallowed a bug.
Take your time.
I'm
Take
sorry
your
for
time.
laughing.
Enjoy
I'm so
it.
sorry.
And
No,
if you want
literally.
to grab some, isn't that normal? Like buffet for where you guys are from?
No, I'm at my mother's, but I
Oh,
should
okay.
have I should have left the camera on in case somebody needed to call for help. Um, but Lord have mercy. Uh, maybe I shouldn't say whatever it is. Maybe that was God in the form of a gnat. But um, I um I don't think that it played very much into um we should all be feeling so terrible. Listen to these people and they're screaming, baby killer, and this is unacceptable. And it just felt very um we can't we're not getting sympathy on our own, so this will help kind of thing. And I don't like interference like that. And also, the whole hour I I got timed out because I said, "Is Leilani there?" And they were like, "Yeah, she's there." And I said, "Well, how is she letting her mother sit there hysterical, crying? Like, there's no way I wouldn't be putting my arms around my mother to try to comfort her." Um,
Right,
and
right.
even
Lack of
there,
emotion.
yeah, even there was no comfort for her mom. It just it was weird.
Yeah. So what kind of bug do you reckon you just swallowed?
I don't know. It was small enough to make its way all the way down though, because it's cleared at this point.
Wow. Okay.
Any aftertaste?
No, not this time.
I really appreciate clips like that. First of all, the audience is saying they needed that because they needed a break from the sadness. But also on YouTube, you can take small little clips, and that's one I'm definitely going to use, a 10-second clip from when you swallowed the bug. So thank you.
Great, great. You're so welcome.
So I tried to pause it here. I'm going to press play again. Oh, it's away. That's fine. I'm going to play this because people need a break from the sadness, and it's absolutely fucking adorable.
Goodness. Oh.
That one was about to flip upside down, was it not?
We're gonna have to, you know, watch that again. Hey,
Look at the one in the background. Watch his head about spins all the way around. I can hear like the fuck.
Animals. We got aside. We'll get into the Delphi murders shortly. Is there anything else on Quentin Simon? I keep going out there. There's just not much to do, but wait on law enforcement to do a painstaking job. Even though it was 73 out there yesterday with those suits on, it's still fucking hot. They're doing a job that's just we wouldn't want to take on behaviorally. But the point is, we're waiting on them to complete that job to sort of see where we go, right?
I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to let anything. I don't figure they're going to do any more press conferences or anything until they find him, I would say.
And it doesn't seem like anybody's going to be giving any confessions or breaking, nobody seems like they're at a breaking point. So
okay. Yeah, and I don't know. I think that there's certain situations. Oakley Carlson's one of them. If there was enough people, I think protests do perhaps change outcomes in some way. I don't see, given the amount of protests and what they're doing. I mean, there's ways to protest, and you just if you've been to a large protest with a lot of people, you don't stand in people's private driveways, nor do you go on their private property. Not smart, but not my business and not my lane. So Delphi murders. A tweet came through yesterday from one of the sisters, the victims. We have Abby Williams and Libby German. Is that right? Both murdered February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, 2017. This case, I'm going to be honest with people out there, Pate and Suthi too. This was in 2017. I really started getting into this stuff in 2019 with sobriety and Jennifer Dulos. But nonetheless, this has been a case a lot of people in our community have been following. And then I started following it as well, in a sense of just updates. And then Keegan Klein got arrested, child pornography charges, I believe. And then recently, I believe state police from Indiana picked him up, even though he hasn't been charged for any other charges besides those. There's a lot of them. I think there's like 70 plus. Picked him up and brought him back to Indiana. Allegedly, there was activity there, and then we didn't hear anything. And then yesterday, we heard from one of the sisters of the victims here that we are going to get justice. And then we heard that a man by the name of Richard Allen was arrested. But before we get there, I want to get into the background. We're going to do a short background from News Nation. And then we'll start talking about where we are and what's going to happen on Monday.
It centers around the small town of Delphi, Indiana, located a little more than a half an hour north of Indianapolis. Two young girls, best friends, Abby Williams and Libby German, 13 and 14 years old, were out for a walk on a popular hiking trail when they were brutally murdered. Their bodies found 5 years ago today, on Valentine's Day. From the very beginning, authorities have said this case can and will be solved. They have video and audio of the killer, but this person is still out there, living among us. Someone, somewhere, knows something.
3 words that have haunted a small town for 5 years.
It's Everytown, USA, and those things don't happen in Everytown, USA. But it happened in Delphi, Indiana.
A chilling discovery.
Why Libby? Why Abby?
That turned a safe haven into a crime scene.
I don't think you have to be embarrassed if you're scared right now. A lot of people in town are scared.
Tonight, a case the world refuses to give up on.
We told each other we loved each other, and that was the last time I saw her.
Following every lead.
I still get probably 25 and 40 direct tips a week right here, literally from around the world.
Together, we'll get this guy.
Solve the unsolved.
We must keep our resolve for Libby and Abby to ensure that good trumps evil.
And catch a killer.
They're watching. And we'll meet them soon.
So that's the background. I'm going to bring up some content here. The suspect is Richard Allen. There's a press conference announced for Monday by Indiana State Police, I believe, and we have a photo of Allen. This is him here. Remember, there were photos, both photos of a man at the bridge and audio recordings, and it's been a long time. It's almost going on 6 years here. Apparently, so this is him as well. This is his booking photo here. So what we know is very little right now. This gentleman lives 1.7 miles away from where Abby and Libby were found. That's a 5-minute drive and a 34-minute walk. Shout out to Snoopy Misfits for getting us a lot of this information. One of the creepy things that immediately came out, at least creepy to me, is that his daughter has a photo on the same bridge around the same location that Abby and Libby were found brutally murdered. So nothing to do with Keegan Kline. Perhaps it does. I don't know if Keegan gave them information that led them here. I don't know if the suspect has always been a part of this investigation. But what do you guys think?
Sorry, I'm eating hot sausage.
Bugs and hot sausage.
You like ended abruptly. I could have hurried up and chewed faster. I had to wash, wash it all down. Do I think that what has anything to do with this investigation?
Oh, this guy, he wasn't in. I said, I don't know
The
anything
other
about
guy?
Richard Allen. Yeah, I've been following Keegan Kline. I think a lot of people have.
Yeah.
And I actually thought the photo looked more like his father. Do you think this photo, I mean, what do you think? How do you think somebody lined up his face and matched it with a sketch here?
That's great.
Yeah. Do you think, what do you think? Hey, you think it's him? I mean, obviously law enforcement arrested him.
Yeah, I mean, that looks great. I mean, whoever lined that up, like, yeah, I mean, it looks like it to me. He would have been several years younger and maybe not as rough if he'd been stressing out for a couple of years. But from what I understand, Jennifer Koffendorfer was irritated about 2 sketches and this arrest. Did the first sketch not look anything like this at all?
I don't remember. I know that there was a photo of him walking on that bridge. I mean, it sort of looks like, I told Eva earlier that he looks thicker in the photo that we saw. But I mean, there's got to be more to this than what we're seeing. I'm presuming that law enforcement has. Um, I think that you guys pointed out some stuff now. There's some social media activity coming from who? His wife?
I haven't seen, well, so when I found out about this, I went over to his wife's Facebook because he doesn't have one that I could see quickly. And I kind of wanted to pull as many pictures as possible because within the hour of this being announced, people were making angry faces on this woman's posts, and commenting stuff. And I figured it's only a matter of time before she removes the entire thing. And I wanted to see what was up, but last I checked, she wasn't active. If she is now, that would be interesting, but I'd say it's not going to be for long.
Yeah, and same with the other Quentin Simon people. I think it was the baby's father that disabled social media, and his mother too, right? I mean, something we often see with these cases.
Yeah, but then he made his music page public. And
well, it's obviously fire. It's fire hip hop, Sleuthie. I mean, gotta make that public.
I didn't listen. I just kind of taken advantage. Like, here we are again with what's the priority? How tore up are you? And Leilani made a comment on that live yesterday about he left 4 days after this started. So he was gone before she was even announced as a suspect or the landfill conversation with Betty Jo. So.
And you got this other guy, Bubba, who's the other biological father of one of the kids, right? And he sort of came out in one of the British tabloids, I call them, but nonetheless, he gave them quotes and sort of seems like he's been alienated from the child and hasn't had much access. And then there's a reporter that has been following this pretty closely. He makes me laugh sometimes. He doesn't put out many words, but he tried to engage Bubba down in Georgia. He found his location, and Bubba didn't want anything to do with any interview. So,
is that Brett?
Yeah.
Oh, I like him.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Yep. Just a picture walking away.
Yeah. It's just it's all bizarre. It's just, and it may be a culture that we just don't understand. I think it's like the Summer Wells culture. The woman that I brought down there yesterday noted, it's a poverty-stricken area. The area that the Quentin Simon house is on really borders between. You start getting into like the farms and the nicer houses as you get over the highway. But where they are sort of brinks right on the line of poverty. I think I saw the mother saying, yes, you said people were sending money. She agreed to people sending food and whatnot. I don't know. This is all bizarre. I don't even know. I mean, I'm sort of just, spitting off what I know here. It doesn't make any sense. None of the family members seem to be doing the right thing. I've gotten fucked up, and you make your mistakes, but very rarely would you make very rarely would you make a mistake of what's occurring here, or not remember small little details, or not go back to your phone or other people's phone to piece together what the fuck happened to a 20-month-old. And it doesn't appear any of that has happened. Or
I agree with you. And I the helping and the encouraging, the only reason that I could see that is happening, you can make a statement and say, I don't think that this is appropriate. This is not an appropriate thing to be doing, and it's not protesting. You could say that. But to then back it up, to where the last time we had a live nerdy, I brought this up about casting reasonable doubt out there with these stories about the bathtub and it was like they were coming up with um, things to place reasonable doubt out there. And now it seems like, say, phase 2 is sympathy. And so they sat outside knowing that it was going to make the protesters scream and be hateful and combative, because they already were. And they sat outside and they put that out there for everyone to see. Again, it's not appropriate. But neither is instigating it for sympathy, in my opinion.
I definitely agree. And when you say sympathy, are you talking about the YouTube folks? Now, and I also heard that there was a YouTube person share that was going to go stay at their house. Did that ever happen? Is that?
Oh yeah, they were sending people down there, and I know they were sending over food. They were sending super chats, and people were asking, like, specifically if they were donating any of it to the family. But yes, Pate, basically sympathy of YouTube, where there were 3,000 people in that chat.
Yeah,
Live.
I did see some of it. Yeah. Okay.
So, from what we understand, police will resume the search Monday there, right?
Yeah.
So, hopefully we will go ahead.
You know what's interesting? They made a statement once before. So we know that they need those 2 days off, 3 days off in order for their health, mental and physical health. However, they made a comment about it coinciding with the landfill being closed over the weekend. Why do you reckon they would want it closed? Like, why they wouldn't go while they were closed? Do you know what I mean?
From what I can tell up in the air, even from before, remember, I was there before law enforcement had put the tents up and whatnot. But it looks like they have to do a lot of coordination with either landfill management or staff or outside consultants. Because remember, just like, I'm in IT or computers, law enforcement are trained for certain things that they don't know these landfills either. And I'm sure that all of this takes coordination. You can see those dump trucks dumping stuff. Those aren't law enforcement dumping those things. So all of that takes coordination from staff and personnel there, I presume.
Oh, you're probably right. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about that. I think the actual search, piece by piece search, I think, is like law enforcement and the processing of whatever it is that's found. But you're probably right. In order, even probably the dozers and stuff and the excavators, they're probably people that work there also.
Yeah, and I mean, as best as I understand what's happening, there's that area where all the tents are and law enforcement has their shovels, and so the excavators and dump trucks bring stuff from that larger pile. Now, it seems like there's 3 piles, right? There's one pile right in front of law enforcement, then there's a secondary pile that's ready to go for them when they're ready with that one, and then the third pile behind them now has a tarp, a green tarp, I believe, over it. So it's a pretty thorough process, and like I said, it's when you see those machines that they're using and what they're actually looking for, they have to process that to even figure out if there's DNA or what it is, and it's not easy.
I think I asked you the other day when you had sent a tiny clip, but I don't know that you answered. Was there more trucks and tents and activity there when you were there this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
that's what I saw too. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, from like it just the lab or whatever that truck was that's processing the buckets. It looks like it's processing the buckets right there on the scene, right? Or at least a preliminary sweep to see if it has to go wherever it needs to go for a secondary check. But it seems like they would be pretty close, and we don't know. I mean, they may have already found stuff that has DNA in it, and they just need to make sure they have every single piece that they need. They haven't said much here.
I feel like Quentin's getting lost in this protesting and in this sympathy pull and in this, you already know that it bothers me when we are more focused on the people that like are left behind than we are about the victim. And I feel like this craziness is causing people to forget that there's a little boy surrounded by trash, a baby boy surrounded by trash. And he didn't get there by flying, you know?
Yeah, we the person whom I took the trip with and drove around with. I mean, you have to like. I don't understand the purpose here. And like I said, to each their own. But you have to imagine the mental capacity of someone to put a child that you've loved, that you fed, that you changed your diaper, that you put to sleep, that you put on your chest to sleep, to put that child in a some kind of bin, to put them in your car, deceased, to drive with them, to drive with that weight, and then to dump a body. What do you think tapping on a window is going to do? What do you think standing out front of that house is going to do if that process didn't break them, right? And so for me, it's not strategic. It's not something. It's more self-serving than it serves Quinton.
That is an excellent point, Nerdy.
Yeah, the self-serving is exactly it is. It's about, you know, their own, how they're acting out their own, you know, dealing with it in their, you know, I mean, we all have, I think, you know, you'll see that there's many that haven't forgotten Quentin, and yet when all the attention that we see on YouTube and even Brett, you know, I'm not saying he's taking the attention away. I'm saying he's having a hard time not expressing, you know, his own anguish with that as well. But when you watch the family, specifically the mom, it's like you have to really just look away because you know the truth. I mean, you know, because we're thinking of this baby, like Nerdy was just describing, which breaks my heart, right? This baby that was fed and taken care of and birthed by her, and it's just not fathomable, I guess. And I guess that's one excuse, right? I don't know. People cope in different ways, but the self-serving really, I think, hit the nail on the head with the protesters and the YouTubers.
And like he said, you know, what is your purpose there? So is your purpose to mentally break them? And is it possible to mentally break them if doing exactly what Nerdy described, something, a child that grew inside of you, a child that you felt kick, a child that you bonded with before the world got to see. And so and I just got goosebumps, and I also feel kind of ill because I can't even imagine. It makes me want to cry. But to do anything to harm that baby, tiny defenseless baby, and then to cover it, and in one of like the most disgraceful ways, in the trash. I don't think that anybody screaming anything is going to eat someone up as much as something like that would be. I think if you're capable of one, I don't think you're really going to care about Bullhorn Betty out across the street calling you a baby killer.
If anything, it gives them a you know, something else to focus
sympathy.
on. They don't have to sit with their own grief or feelings or guilt or whatever.
And it's like, see, you keep saying we're bad, but look at these people. No one deserves this. No one deserves this. And they're getting sympathy because of it. And so what is your purpose? Are you there to make them break, or are you there to force law enforcement's hand, which I don't agree with? But if you're there to get some traction and have the police move quicker because you think they ought to, then you're at the wrong place protesting, right?
Right.
So what could the other reason be? Like Nerdy said, I mean, we're having these lives where there's 4,000 of us in here and we're sending money and being sent money. And, I think, and I do like Brett a lot, but when there's no news, there's nothing from law enforcement, but there's this other news that's happening right here while we're waiting for the news to happen. It's almost like we don't want people to forget, so we're going to keep people updated, but it's just the wrong thing, and it's not Quentin.
Yeah, it's the arrest for Leilani. I mean, I guess there's some public interest in it, but the media reporting on a felony that was ultimately $14 worth of goods, and I think she's on. That's actually why I'm there, Pat. We've seen other cases where like police have really pinched like Adam Montgomery and even Oakley Carlson's father for other charges not related. Like how she's on 2 different probation from 2 different states. Like how haven't they pinched her for something on probation, like something simple to try to get her? That does. I was going to say that earlier when we were talking about that, but it doesn't make any damn sense either.
Well, Kayla was in jail for a long time for welfare fraud. I mean, they have their ways, and it's not happening. I don't know why. I mean, I'm really cynical with law enforcement, but I also feel like we don't have another choice but to trust them, and they're doing a grueling job right now that none of us would want to do. So, yeah, and I just wish that there wasn't so much focus on giving airtime, honestly, to the family. I just think that it allows, how many stories have we heard now? Somebody came in and took him. The dad took him, the bio dad. Now the story is being shifted to Danny. It's just a lot of distraction, and the protesters aren't making it any better. If there was an outcome that we could see, but I don't see an outcome that's going to help. So
I wonder if they're keeping her free because of who else all might be involved and conversations they might have. And like, for instance, if they're going to start running their mouth about Danny, maybe Danny's going to pop back up and he's going to start saying things, You
mean like they're digging their own?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Especially now that they're doing these lives and
yeah.
They're chatting, and at one point and the babysitter got brought up briefly, and the person on YouTube that was hosting it was like the lion ass babysitter selling whatever they said. And I just thought, like, we've been told by police a lot. We were given a lot of information. They told us that they were searching a landfill for a baby and that their prime suspect was the person that was one of the people that was home with him. I don't know why we're out looking for more suspects. We do that when we're not told what's going on. We've been told what's going on. So I'm not sure why we're trying to make it like they're not suspects, or there's another part of the story. Am I crazy?
You make a good point, though, that the pressure from one and leaning on the other and then leaning back may provide something here for law enforcement. I don't know.
Well, we can hope.
And to answer your question on if you're crazy, yes, you ate a fucking bug and didn't skip a beat.
And I washed it down with a Monster energy drink and hot sausage.
Yeah.
I was already like, I was up to here, and I was like, I don't want to do it. I'm going to go on camera so everybody can see how just mad I am and mean. And then that kind of did it for me. It threw me out of my shithead mood.
This is a photo that Jess sent over. Credit goes to Grizzly True Crime. Most people tuning in know who that is. Does YouTube content as well. But this is a sort of a comparison of Richard Allen from the Delphi murders.
The many faces.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I personally would be able to take that sketch and say that's the man. But
I want to say this. I don't know a whole lot, but from what I was picking up and gathering was this whole someone was trying to paint a picture for me about the bridge and then the video of a man and saying down the hill or whatever. And I'm just not wondering if, can I be totally honest about what I thought when I was looking through the social media yesterday?
Yes, ma'am. And I just want to point out while you're talking that this is the photo where you see up in the upper left-hand corner here, that white sketch. That's the actual sketch of him, right?
Yeah, it's weird as fuck. Like, is that his house?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's his wife. I mean, but that's him, and that's the sketch behind him. I thought that somebody had doctored this photo, but
I mean,
yeah, it's almost unbelievable. But
so just a thought, just a fleeting thought that popped into my head as I was looking at all the social media was, what if there was multiple sketches because there were multiple people, right? Then my next thought was, well, if he was up on the bridge and said down the hill, there could have been somebody down the hill waiting already. And then I was just looking and there was like a disappearance the entire year of 2017. And I said to Jess, I said, there's nothing. It goes from 2016 to 2018. 2017 is gone. She's like, I wonder where they were. And I was like, I don't know. And I really got to thinking, like, do we even know if it was like all males that we're looking for?
yeah, or motive. We don't know much, right? Motive. When first of all, this threw me completely off base because I was looking at Keegan Klein and I was even looking at his father, because when you see pedophilia, usually that we saw that in other cases, and even people in the community personal experience. But usually when you see that in a family, it doesn't, it goes to the child. It's there. And so I was looking there, but the same question has to be asked for this gentleman, right? A lot of questions. First of all, motive. For me, like, without even knowing anything, you don't just randomly kill two females and stop unless there's a really good motive or reason that you feel like. So there's so many questions unanswered here for me. This is a case that I'll be following, but you can't imagine that a grown man that has a family, that has his own daughter, that's been charged with this crime. I don't see you doing this one time and stopping.
Right. That's what I was thinking. It's probably not the only one.
Or just say they like for at least for pedophilia and stuff like minors and stuff like this, you don't get better, you get better at not getting caught. And that's always my fear for stuff like this. This was brutal. This was a brutal murder with no, like, 13 and 14 years old. There's no good reason for this. And just I guess we'll have to wait until Monday for more answers.
So I guess the details are like really obscure. The girl that I was talking to about this, who was trying to catch me up, mentioned that they never released a cause of death for the girls. And I wonder, because she was like, it would have been like, was it that terrible? And I was like, no. I mean, I've heard some really horrendous things as a cause of death for people. It doesn't get that vivid, but I almost wonder if it was something that was so. Is that the bridge?
Yeah, so this is his daughter on the bridge from 2018, I believe, which
The
is
same bridge. Can you believe?
Wow.
It's so creepy.
Why would you do that?
I mean, it's almost as if, like, that's why I asked about that sketch behind him. It's almost like he's putting that stuff there as a ruse, or taunting. I don't know. It doesn't. I mean, neither one makes much sense.
I know. I felt it like it was taunting, but arrogant.
Yeah, I feel like everyone would be avoiding that area just completely. Like, why would you take a pic that looks like a high school photo picture?
Well, even the sketch, think of it from like a normal human. Like we all were looking for Brian Laundrie, right? Nobody put a fucking sketch of him on their wall, did they?
Right. No. Unless maybe Roberta, maybe she did have sketches of him all over the place. So to tell.
This is a first for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
That's weird. And it's after that's bizarre. That is strange as fuck. That's so Roberta-ish.
It's Roberta, yeah. So we are coming up. It's 55 minutes. Wanted to take the last couple minutes to talk about the Ghost of Concho.
What is this?
I made a post about it for everybody to be on the lookout, and so they'd be here so we could talk about it.
So, the Ghost of Concho is. We'll see a video. We'll learn more about him. And it's obviously a ghost, but Kancho is actually a real thing. This, it's a East Asian thing. Came from Japan. I mean, it's a Wikipedia article. I mean, I want to get the close up. That's the close up. So it's a real thing. Like first of all, I want to talk about the trauma that this is causing, or potentially causing East Asian. Read the wiki. It's a common prank for East Asian kids. Literally, East Asian kids, Japanese kids, they go around. This is a common thing that they do to each other.
I was really scared, but I did Google it, and it's real. And there's a lot of interesting pictures. And
I'm trying not to. So I didn't want to get caught up in the circus act of the protests, and so the cases have been this one and some other ones that we haven't had progress. So I've been trying to find the Ghost of Concho. Here he came over to Florida, so we're gonna let's watch that.
There's a ghost that lives in that tower. Oh, yeah? But supposedly came over here with St. Augustine.
Oh, really?
And the legend, I guess, from the kids here is that he does Concho, which is the Japanese thing where they and so this guy Hector, no molester, goes, whoa. You feel that? Like a ting, like almost like electricity. It's like paranormal or something here. You guys feel that? Paranormal activity? The tingles in the air? No. Whoa. You feel that? What? Like some kind of tingly over here. It's like paranormal almost. No. Whoa. You guys feel that? It's like something like paranormal. Something like tingly over here.
What you mean?
Is it?
Spicy.
Whoa. You guys feel that?
Huh?
There's like some kind of paranormal activity over here. Sense any paranormal activity around here?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Bring a bucket and a mop for that special cookie. Does anyone sense any paranormal activity around here? No. Thank you. There's supposedly a ghost that lives along this beach from St. Augustine.
He came over here with the Spanish? Or?
Correct, yeah. His mom was Japanese, and I guess... Have a good day.
It's easier to put my hand on.
There you go. He goes around this hotel here, and there's a Japanese art of Concho where the kids do a prank, and they literally put their fingers up. I'm doing an investigation. It's the Ghost of Concho. Anyone?
Oh no! Let me see the picture.
It's the ghost that be doing the most. Sense any paranormal activity around here? Anyone? Do you sense any paranormal activity around here?
So that's the flyer. That's the flyer that I'm handing out to people. That's the Ghost of Concho. We still haven't found him, Sleuthy, but I wanted to end on some laughs. I saw your face. I don't think people saw it because the content was up, but I see you backstage in the studio, and man, your face. You're laughing. You're
jackass. And then Green Goddess said the Ghost of Conchos who flew into Sleuthy's mouth. Jackass.
We need laughter though, right? Moxie, shout out to Moxie for creating this wonderful flyer. I was hoping Fresha would actually come through clutch and make me a flyer, but nothing yet. I'm going to put Moxie up here, but we need laughter, right? I mean, these other cases have been, between Harmony and Montgomery, Quinton. No progress on Kaylee. All I have right now is a little laughter during the Halloween season. Speaking of which, what do you guys have planned for Halloween before we wrap it up?
Going to see the grandkids, and I always stand at the door at the end of their trick-or-treating. They come home and knock on their own door and trick-or-treat, and I give them my goodies. It's just fun hanging out with them. Sometimes I'll go trick-or-treating with them for a bit too.
Did I send you the video of Mom and Bubby in their dinosaur costumes?
I have not. You sent me one. I saw some between you and Jess yesterday. I saw one today. Did you post that yet? What was that?
No, the skeleton. So tonight she's having a party out front and in the house, and she's a skeleton. And I did her makeup. She looks badass. But for Monday, when we take the baby to go trick or treating, we have matching dinosaur blow up. Like they have little fans in them, and you get in it, and it like inflates around you, and it's got like fake legs that are like cockeyed, and you look like you're sitting silly on a dinosaur, and it's the cutest thing. But I thought I sent the picture. I would have had you put it on here, but my mother would kill me.
Last time you were with your mom, that was in Florida. Is that the same?
No, we're in Pennsylvania now.
Okay. Even the kids were supposed to go to the zoo for this Halloween event, and she went to reserve, and they were sold out. So they got a bunch of pumpkins. They're carving those with their sister and family. So I'm going to go carve some pumpkins and make pumpkin seeds. Pate or Sleuthie, any tips on making pumpkin seeds? Somebody said soak them in olive oil.
No turmeric. Keep it simple.
No turmeric.
You mean like to bake them and eat them, you mean?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I don't have any suggestions other than to put it in the garbage.
So your suggestion is just so you'll eat bugs, but the pumpkin seeds are not right, not kosher.
Pumpkin seeds are off limits. I will not eat those.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good. So keep it simple, dry them out overnight, then put your favorite, whatever seasoning, and then bake them, and yum. That's it. I don't know about the soaking in oil. I've never heard of that.
Sleuthie's shaking her head, and she just ate a bug. I don't know pumpkin seeds helped me actually. Helped me when I quit smoking. I would drive because driving and smoking went hand in hand for me. So I would drive with pumpkin seeds, and the shells would be all over because you have to crack them and get to the middle like a little squirrel.
Ew! Can't you eat like sunflower seeds like normal people?
You could, but the pumpkin seeds, when they're done on the outside, they got that salt and the flavor, and you crack them, and then you just add. It's like a process. I don't know, Sleuthie.
No,
it's a Halloween tradition. Come on now.
You are eating pumpkin guts. Pumpkin guts.
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm gonna go do. I'm gonna go carve it. I'm gonna take out the guts. I'm gonna bake them and let it be that. We're gonna have Sunday service tomorrow on Twitter. What do you guys think of this whole Twitter takeover, real quick? And Kanye West.
What's a Twitter takeover?
So Elon purchased Twitter. Where have you been?
I thought that. So I got a notification, and it was Donald Trump, and I was like, what? And I got on, and apparently it wasn't him, but it was fucking hilarious to think that it was for a minute. So, okay, yeah, I ate a bug. A bug. I didn't eat it willingly. It invaded my space and flew into my mouth. I just cleared the way. That's all.
Yeah, that's important. She didn't have like a frog tongue come out and just suck it in. We can see that.
I didn't do it on purpose. My God. If anybody didn't have enough to say about me, now it'll be that like I'm a bug eater. Slutty, sleuthy.
Slutty teeth. So Elon purchased.
The goose ate a bug.
Musk purchased Twitter for 44 billion. Apparently, so he's going to have a board with oversight to talk about content moderation, and he said they're going to be diverse, but also said that there will be no more permanent suspensions. All suspended accounts will sort of have a time limit. So if you do get dinged, it would be a 6-month, 1-year period. It wouldn't be forever. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out on Kanye West. I don't know. There's not much to say there. I do, is in terms of someone that recognizes someone crumbling behaviorally, and I'm not a medical doctor, but it looks like that's what's happening. I just hope that he gets the help that he needs, if that's what he needs.
I just wish we didn't have to watch it publicly, but I agree with you. And I heard that he overpaid by billions, so I'm a little nervous about it. I can't say that I'm not, but I'm worried about the hate increasing and whatnot. But I'm torn. I'm a free speecher too, so. But I don't know. I'm just doing the waiting game, and I was wondering how this is going to affect your account.
Somebody's got, yeah. So I don't know how it plays into my account. I don't know. The attorney emailed me today at 9:49. Well, I got an email from Twitter and got excited. So from the other account, from my main account. So I was like, okay, it's happening. So I emailed back because they said, email this. So I emailed him back and I CC'd the attorney, and he says, please don't argue with Twitter. My contact was able to use a special avenue for making the appeal. And the decision should be in our favor. And he goes on. So we'll see how that turns out. It seems like either way, no matter what Elon does or the attorney does, it sounds like somehow, some way, I should be back there with the main account.
I hope he hires actual people so we can call someone next time, because this is bullshit. How does Twitter not have like a 800 number?
They have 7,500 employees for how many accounts? It's almost next to impossible to. Yeah. You know how many people would be calling. So, I mean, they rely on a lot of AI, stuff like that. But with 7,500 employees, I don't know what he's going to do. He's innovative. I'm sure he'll rely on some cool technology to take care of a lot of the load from them. He's talked about WeChat, trying to make Twitter similar to that. WeChat, if people aren't familiar with it, huge application in China, overseas. They use it for everything, like communication, payments, etc. And I think that's what he has in plan for Twitter, but we'll see. Free speech, Pate, I think within the first 24 hours, a 50% uptick in racial slurs, etc. People are watching it, but I don't know. I don't see it as any different than real life. You mute, you block, and if you can't, just like arguments we see on TikTok elsewhere, then you take civil action. I don't know. I do think that the idea of making sure every user account is validated with a license ID, school ID, student ID, whatever that may be. I think the UK is trying to do that, but I think there are some improvements that could be made to help with some of that stuff. But Pate, like you, I do believe in free speech, so it's difficult.
It is difficult, and I also believe in So like you said, the tick went up on racial slurs and all that, and I've seen it. I mean, I've noticed it. So I guess the answer is block and mute or go somewhere else, right? I mean, that's the thing. And Jack, the previous owner, sent out a new platform, an invitation to a new platform called Blue Skies. I think I sent it to you, the link to it. So
yeah,
I got on the waiting list. But I mean, I'm not going anywhere. I mean, it would have to be, pretty bad for me. I mean, it's pretty bad anyway, but it would have to be significant for me to leave.
Like unavoidable, like no matter how many muting, like it's still popping up kind of thing. But I have 2 questions, Nerdy. Is UChat like iMessage?
WeChat.
Or what did I say?
iChat. I don't know. WeChat. It's WeChat.
You chat.
You said you chat.
We all chat. We chat. But is it the same as like iMessage, where you can talk and you can pay and you can, like, is it like that,
It's
or
like
is it
WhatsApp on steroids? WhatsApp on steroids. Like a lot of steroids.
Okay.
Like everything's integrated. Like they do everything in that app.
Okay, my second question is, do you like peanuts?
I'm afraid to answer. Yeah.
You do? Okay, so like, are you one of those people that eats the shells of the peanuts?
No.
Because that's what I feel like eating a pumpkin and its seed would be like for me.
I knew this was leading back to the seeds. I knew it.
You can't avoid it. I can't stop thinking about it. Like, I'm seeing more suggestions, and I would heavily salt the shit out of them. But other than that, I'm like, I can't imagine a world where I'm sticking a pumpkin seed. And I know I swallowed a bug, but you know.
You're not eating the seed. Like there's a seed inside the seed. You understand that, right?
Oh, so it's like a pistachio. Like you suck on the outside of it because it's salty, and then you just.
It's a shell. So there's a shell. So what you're seeing inside the pumpkin is a shell, and that's what you're salting. And you crack that with your teeth, and inside that is a seed.
Oh, so it's a sunflower seed, but a pumpkin.
Yes. Yeah. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what a sunflower seed looks like. I don't know the process of how that is. Yeah. I just eat the sunflower and the little thing that at the store, and it says salted or unsalted, and I put them in my hand and they get shoved right into my mouth.
So yeah, my ex-husband used to eat pumpkin seeds like how you all are talking, but he'd eat the whole thing in its whole
That's
entirety.
ratchet. That's ratchet.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I keep thinking. Is laying in the bed eating the whole seed.
And Pate, on the free speech thing, like, yeah, I'm afraid of where it goes, but also I'm reminded that there's been times where I've gotten blocked off of other social media accounts, Facebook, for comedy. Like when it comes from a good place and it's not meant from a bad place. And I do feel like comedy should be allowed, and humor, and a lot of the things that we've seen in the past, I want to say 8 years, sort of. I think we've become overly sensitive. That's my opinion. So I'm hopeful that some of that changes, and it's bi-directional, right? If I have to tolerate something, it also means that I'm allowed to do something that I may not have been able to do before.
Yeah, I get that. I just worry about the violence and things. Things lead to things, and so. But I am with you on that. I am, and there's no way that anyone can moderate all that many people and that much content. There's just no way. So, and if there is a way, I know that you'll know it way more than I would. So.
Well, I'm gonna let everyone say goodnight. Pate, your microphone sounds like you have a helicopter behind you. You literally sound, it's like, it's pretty cool actually. But thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Sleuthie and Pate, for being guests and helping with this. Everyone be kind to each other. Everyone have a good Saturday evening. The rest of it, I think I'm going to go watch OP live, carve some pumpkins, and then tomorrow maybe some beach, depending on the weather. But I will let Sleuthie and Pate say goodnight as well. Everyone be kind to each other and face the light. Love you guys.
Hey, thanks for having me here. Really appreciate it. It's way more easy than I expected to do this, and I'll let Sleuthie take us out. Love you all.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for everybody for being here, and thanks all the mods, and thank you, Nerdy. And I'm glad I didn't die today, but if I was going to, I would want it to be here with you all. Pray for Quinton and all the other Quintons, Summer, and everybody. And everybody have a good night. Be careful and make sure you let your parents check your candy before you eat it all.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't do a good job with the whole like and subscribe and the super chats and all that. One day we will, but yeah, special shout out to the mods, Fresha, Irina, Diva, Jess. I'm probably missing other people, but love you all. Have a good night, and we'll see you soon.
Love you. Night.
Love you. Good night.